Hey everyone, this is Rod. Hope you're doing well out there. Today, we're going to talk about Josh Hawley, and the reason why I want to talk about him, so right now it seems like everyone's onto him. When I first started to put this together, I was a little concerned about him because I consider him pretty dangerous. And the reason why I consider him dangerous is because, we're starting to see now what some politicians will do, for votes. They'll lie. They'll talk about things like voter fraud, you know, and knowing that there isn't voter fraud right now, jumping on Trump's bandwagon just so they can try to get some of his people, some of the appeal of his people, get votes, to get to realize their ambitions they're having, and that's a dangerous thing. He's been doing things like, you know, trying to appeal to Trump's base. And the thing about Trump, whether you like Trump or not, and I don't, I've told you before, I don't like him. Um, Trump is Trump. Trump is who he is. Trump is for real. He's not being fake. He's Trump. This is how Trump is. And being Trump, he developed this huge base of followers, and he had won the election the first time around. And he's been doing this like ever since I've known him. He's had his TV shows. He's been doing these interviews. People have been listening to him. He's so believable. So Trump's Trump. But you have some politicians, particularly Josh Hawley, who they don't seem genuine. They seem fake. And they don't seem like they're trying to get out their own agenda. It seems like they're just trying to go for the low hanging fruit, which is Trump's claims. When Trump talked about voter fraud, it's a lie, but it's genius because he's been talking about it forever. He talked about it before the election, talked about it during the election, talked about it after the election. It's genius, but that's his thing. It's wrong, it's BS, but that's Trump's thing. When you have another politician who tries to jump on talking about this voter fraud, when we all know it's not true. We all know it's not true. Some of his base don't know it because they trust their leader, Trump. But the vast majority of us, the silent majority, as I call it, they know it's not true. So when you have a very intelligent person, a very educated person, a leader in Congress like a Josh Hawley that comes in and talks about voter fraud and he's appealing to Trump's base, it's it's unexcusable, unforgivable because he doesn't believe it. Trump may or may not believe it. We're not sure. I don't know if Trump believes it, but this guy for sure doesn't believe it. So then, if he doesn't believe it, why is he doing it? He's doing it because he's going for the low hanging fruit. He's doing it because he thinks he's so smart. See, he thinks, in my opinion, he thinks that he's smarter than Trump. So he can copy Trump about the voter fraud and other things that Trump's do. And then he's so smart that he's going to take away Trump's base from him because he's smarter than Trump. This is just my opinion, what he probably thinks. Not only is he so smart, he thinks that Trump's base is probably stupid. I don't think that. I don't agree with some of there's a part of his base I don't agree with. But he probably thinks he's so smart that what he can do is he can come in and talk the Trump talk, the voter fraud, and whatever Trump talks about. And all of a sudden, Trump's base is going to magically come to him, because they're so stupid. This is how he treats them, like they're so stupid. And it's a huge gamble to take that approach with people because, see, Trump is genuine. Trump is who he is. He's not hiding. This is who he is. This Josh Hawley is fake. People aren't going to follow fake, or if they did, it just be for a little while. It's a big risk to go that route. Not to mention, he's been in Congress, for just a short time since 2019. A lot of those people that have been in Congress have been in Congress for like almost a lifetime, and they are very experienced, and they have a lot of mutual respect for each other. when I was watching after those people stormed the Capitol, and I was watching Congress come together, bravely came together, and they were talking. They agreed to meet after the Capitol was invaded. They agreed to come together and to talk. When you watch them, they're talking to one another. So when they gave speeches, someone gave speeches, and they're talking to one another, or they're talking to Mike Pence, who was the head of the room at that time. They're talking to him, or they're talking to each other, and they're casually talking to each other. They have amazing speeches they were giving. It was beautiful, and it was genuine. You even watch a person like Lindsey Graham. He gave his speech. It seemed like it was off the cuff a little bit, but he gave his speech. He's talking to the group, and he backtracked, and he talked about that, he was no longer willing to support Trump anymore. He said, me and Trump were great friends. We've done these things. I'm just no longer willing to support him anymore. So he's been genuine as he's talking to the group. But then you see Josh Hawley come up, if I'm saying his name right, by the way. But if you saw Josh Hawley coming up, it was there was a strong and strange disconnect with him. He is putting on a front. He's posturing, and he's not talking or connected to the group. I've seen people get up, and even though they're talking against other members, they're respectfully doing so. They'll say the senator from Texas said this, or whatever they're saying, or no disrespect to this senator, but I disagree in this way. I've seen that happen. But this Josh Hawley, when he gets up there, he's looking at the camera the whole time, and he's talking to the camera as he's presenting his lie. Like he's trying to sell the people. Like, all these people have all this experience in these relationships. Doesn't matter. He's going to talk to the camera. He's going to bypass them, and he's going to talk to the people. I guess that's who he's talking to, and give this lie speech. And it's just so mechanical and such BS. It was a weird thing to see. It's like he's disconnected from them. It's like he thinks he's so smarter than all these senators that have been in office for many years, that have been doing this for many years, that he is somehow going to come in, and because he's smarter than them, and he's just going to talk to the camera and bypass them somehow. I don't know. It was just weird. I think that in time, and I'm seeing it already, but in time, I just think that people are seeing him for what he is, this dangerous person. This person's not even real. This person is only about his own ambition. He's willing to lie and do anything for his own ambition. I think he's going to alienate himself in the Senate or in Congress, because they're a close-knit group of people. They have different views. They're on different political views, but they're so respectful. They listen to each other. They talk to each other. So it's interesting. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. I just feel like his career is over. They canceled a book deal of him because they felt he was, I think they felt he was fake. I hear there's, since I started preparing this, I hear there's, in where he's from, I can't remember which state. I think it's Missouri. I can't remember which state, but where he's from, they're already protesting him. It was like he took this huge gamble, and we as a country, and he failed. He failed. So we'll see if he actually resigns. People are asking him to resign. We'll see what he does. But we cannot afford to have another president in here who doesn't have the people's will, who doesn't have that servant mentality where they're trying to serve the people versus serving themselves and their own agenda. So that's all I had to say. I just want to point out that this Josh Hawley is a dangerous individual, and he thinks that we're all stupid, but it looks like it's turning on him. So we'll see what he does. But peace and hope, everyone.